quick disclaimer, we are not investigative journalists. We simply read, watch, and listen to whatever we can to satisfy our curiosity while use this information to form our own personal opinions. Do not take this as investigative journalism. This is simply our own rabbit holes.
Hello, friends, and get ready. We're going to talk about the docs, the crimes, and all the people involved. This is Crime and Chill.
Hey guys, I'm Victoria.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
How are you, Rachel?
It's Christmas Eve. Well, when they hear this, it'll be Christmas Eve. I mean, it's not really Christmas Eve for us, but I'm imagining it was really Christmas Eve for everybody else.
Christmas. So Merry Christmas, peoples.
Merry Crime of Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hope you're having a great Christmas, and if you need a break from the fam bam because they're a little too much, and that's why you're listening, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. You got this.
That's why I don't involve family on Christmas. You're not gonna.
It's too much.
I like it low key. Stay home, chill. Don't do the whole huge family.
Sometimes it's too much.
Always.
I mean, I go to my parents and hang out with my brothers for a couple hours, well, several hours, and then I go home with my husband and the dogs.
So I have a rule where I do not travel on Christmas.
I mean, it's not like it's traveling. For
No,
me.
I mean, I don't leave my house.
Oh, yeah. If I didn't have little brothers, I would not.
I do not. So, I mean, I have a little brother, but he's got his own kids. And
also in another state.
Yeah. But yeah, I do not
Versus
travel.
my mom and brothers and dad, they're like a 20-minute drive, if that. It's not that big of a deal. I don't mind it. Now, New Year's Eve, that's a completely different story. I do not leave my home.
Yeah, no, I don't leave my home on any holidays. So, like, Christmas Eve, Travis's family will go to his dad's house, but it's in the daytime.
Yeah.
I have a rule. So it's not for, like, safety reasons. It's for, I want to be home and enjoying the traditions I have built for my kids. And I don't want to fuck with everybody else's traditions. I don't care about your time. I mean, I do care about your time, but I care enough about my time that I put a boundary to it.
Yeah, as you should.
Well, today's also it's not really today, but when this airs today is the 25th anniversary of John Benet Ramsey.
Yep. And that's just a whole mess in and of itself. Now let's get into more stuff. So, we have two court cases I'm going to be talking about today because they have both finished up. He was found guilty in his child pornography case. He was immediately remanded back into federal custody, and his sentencing will be in 4 months. He was found guilty on all counts. If you don't know who the Duggars are, I don't know what you're doing with your life because they've been around forever and a day. They've had specials they were on TLC with specials, and then they had their own show, and then that show got canceled, and then there was a spin-off show, and it was a whole mess. But, he's guilty. They immediately said, go back to jail and await your sentencing. So he's sitting in county jail, and then as soon as sentencing happens, he will go into a federal prison. Good fucking riddance. Personally, fuck this guy. Fuck his parents, because the parents abetted.
Obviously knew.
Yeah. I don't know how much anybody knows. It came out when their original show, 19 Kids and Counting, got canceled, that he had molested his sisters. And the parents just sent him off, and then took safety precautions, quote unquote safety precautions, to protect their children. Whatever. And those parents caused their children a lot of trauma, because I was reading that the youngest sister that was molested didn't fully know what happened. So while she was sitting in the trial with her husband, that evidence was being used to talk about him, to build their case. So she really only found out what completely happened to her in the courtroom. And she's married with 2 kids. That's fucked.
I think they should have given her some kind of warning.
Yeah, especially after, as parents, you found out, that was going to be used. Also, the father lied on the stand. They already know that.
I think the attorneys, obviously the parents were never protecting this daughter.
No.
So the attorneys should have made the ethical decision, and I cannot see how that would be unethical, to warn the victim the testimony was going to be stated that day regarding her. I don't see how that's typically done in any case I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
You are warned as a victim when your part of your story is being told.
Yeah. I don't know. So, good fucking riddance. Hope you fucking rot. Let's be honest, we know what happens to child molesters in prison.
So, and I had a figure you were going to say this, and as I was laying in bed one day this week thinking about the death penalty, I was thinking how many people are against the death penalty but have no problem saying statements like that.
I'm against the death penalty unless it has to be proven without a reasonable doubt. Pedophiles and child porn, anything that involves hurting a child, I'm all for it.
We can't pick and choose, though.
I feel like I can.
Okay. Because there was another case, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, a father killed his wife and daughter, and my husband was like, it's bad enough to kill your wife, but how do you kill your own kids?
Yeah.
Like, as much as my kids drive me nuts, I could never, ever do that. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about the death penalty, Rachel's brain. Anyways, that's how I got to that subject.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, like I said, to me, if you're... I have mixed... I'm mixed on the death penalty. Like, I'm against it, but I also am not. It's very complicated to me.
There was another reason why, and I think you guys should watch it. It's on Netflix, and it is called...
Pause. Okay.
It is called The Life of David Gale. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Okay. So we'll quickly get into just a quick thing about it, because it's very interesting, and it does go along with when is the death penalty okay. Guy is wrongly accused of a sexual assault. Charges are dropped, everything, but he loses his job, he loses his life, everything. Meanwhile, he is a professor at the time of this in a college, and he is against the death penalty, and is in a group against the death penalty.
Okay.
The head person of this group is his best friend. Go through the story, you find out she is dying of cancer.
Oh.
And then is quote unquote murdered. Come to find out she was not murdered. She staged her own death and staged the murderer as her friend. He is sentenced. He knows about it though. They work together to prove that the death penalty is not always in the best interest. The day after his or within 15 minutes of him being put to death, they find the video proving that she actually committed suicide, and this was all just to show how the death penalty doesn't work.
So he was killed.
He was killed. And it is...
That's why when we have talked about it, we're both on the thing, like, if we had to choose it, you have to show me without a shadow of a doubt.
But see, there was no shadow of a doubt. There was, looking at all the evidence, he did it.
Yeah.
They purposely made it to look like he did it. They left no room for error. He was the last one with her. His semen was found in her because they had sex. He was seen leaving the house. His fingerprints were on objects that were attached to her, such as the bag that she put around her head to commit suicide with.
Why would you do that?
She wanted to... Well, she was dying already, and she wanted...
okay, her thing, okay, I get it, but
because he lost everything with the fake sexual assault.
Yeah.
He lost his family. He lost his job. He lost everything. He didn't have anything. He was an alcoholic, and he was, on the path for destruction.
So he just didn't care anyway.
He didn't care. He just wanted to prove a point.
Okay. Also, another sidetrack, if you falsely accuse somebody of sexual assault and, fuck their life up, I feel like you should have to go to prison.
You know?
You know?
So, in that movie, Kate Winslet's in it, and Kevin Spacey. And it is very good. I think you should watch it.
I will watch it now.
I think I pretty much gave everybody the whole story.
I don't care. I'll still watch it.
But it was...
Spoiler alert.
This is where the whole life of the death penalty conversation is spewed from. Anyways. Your next case.
So, the other court case that finished recently is the Jussie Smollett case. He was found guilty of 5 out of 6 counts of disorderly conduct. So let me explain a little bit. So, if you don't remember, Jussie staged a quote-unquote hate crime by hiring 2 guys to beat him up, and then he went and told the cops multiple times, went on live TV multiple times, saying it was a hate crime and that these guys beat the crap out of him, put a noose around his neck, poured bleach on him. Why? Who knows? Some people think it was to push his career. I don't know. Whatever. But the way that the Chicago system is set up, the reason that it was 6 counts of disorderly conduct that he was charged with is because it was each time he lied to police.
Yep.
So each time he lied to police was a charge of disorderly conduct.
Which I think you should have been charged with more. Personally.
Yeah.
Because there are people who are really victims of these acts.
Yeah.
And you took away those resources from the officers that could have been used to people who are really being tortured.
Yep. It was insane, but his sentencing will also be in a few months as well. I don't know if I said, but Josh Duggar's will be in 4 months. Jussie's will be in a few months. Honestly, for Jussie, he's probably looking at like fines, probation, community service. Not much there.
So the city of Chicago, right?
Yeah.
They have brought against him $135,000 or $138,000 restitution for the amount of money they spent investigating. And then the two men that supposedly they were
crazy. While reading about the Jussie Smollett stuff that was going on, I learned about another case out of Chicago where a man from Canada staged a beating so that he would be, quote, robbed of live tickets to Oprah Winfrey. He never had tickets. He lied to his wife, and apparently instead of just telling his wife he never had tickets or didn't have tickets, he staged this whole fucking thing. Sir, what was your wife going to do to you? What were you so afraid of?
So, unless she gave him the money and he used it towards something else.
Yeah, that's the only other thing I can think of. Or the money
went missing, or he was involved in something. So I could see if money was missing, and my husband said, well, I have tickets to go see X, Y, and Z, and then we don't get to go see X, Y, and Z, I'd want to know what caused, where did that money go?
Yeah.
And if he couldn't give me an answer that I liked, then I would be suspicious of whatever was going on.
Yeah.
So
valid.
Maybe that's what he was trying to cover, whatever was going on.
I don't know. I did not find out.
When did this happen?
Which thing?
The Oprah Winfrey one.
Mid to early 2000s. I don't remember. I'd have to go find it again.
That's interesting.
It was interesting. And I was just like, he cut himself with a rock. Like, there was a lot of shit. And I'm like, you put a lot of effort into making this robbery and assault very staged.
Yeah.
But, okay. So, today it is time for part 2 of a series that we are now.
Wait. I got more crime news. I got more crime news.
Okay, so I'll cut that part out. What's your crime news?
This is very important. Okay, in the last 2 weeks, 2 vehicles have been pulled out of water from missing people. One was from 45 years ago. A Georgia student was on his way back to school in Auburn and goes missing.
Mm-hmm.
They find his car 45 years later in a creek that they supposedly searched.
Yeah, how'd you miss a car?
Well, so supposedly they didn't dredge the whole creek. Obviously, that's a lot of manpower. They didn't find anything.
Especially 45 years ago.
But, so that's interesting. And then a YouTuber, I think his name is Jeremy.
The scuba diver guy?
Yeah. He found 2 missing college students from
21 years ago?
Yeah, 21 years ago. He, gets donations and obviously, his YouTube videos and things, and he pays for these scuba visits. He said that he had taken a boat into the creek using sonar, did a grid on the creek, and once the sonar depicted something of the shape of a car, the next morning he dived down there, got the license plate number, and called the police. That is so cool.
Yeah. Also, I have to say, I watch these scuba diver people on TikTok and on the YouTube, and I love it so much.
My kid he thinks it is the coolest thing ever.
It's so cool.
To do, he likes the treasure hunters.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to go find bodies, but he thinks the treasure hunters are so cool.
I mean, I think it's all very cool. Also, people that go magnet fishing, also cool. Anyways, so
back to our Murdaugh series.
Yeah, everything will also be in the description box as much as I can put in the description. So, what are we doing today, Rachel? What Murdaugh stuff are we talking today? Welcome to week 3 of the Murdaugh Files series.
Murdaugh.
But
so we are back to investigating another crime that came from another crime that we have no information about. So, during the double homicide that we talked about 3 weeks ago at this point now, where Paul and Maggie are murdered, the investigation into the Murdaugh family becomes full force, and they find evidence that causes them to reopen a case.
Granted in bond. I thought you might want to know.
Yep.
Okay,
So last week we talked about how he was going for a bond hearing on that Monday before last week aired. We don't need to go back and edit that. His bond hearing, he received bond finally. He's been in jail since October.
Yeah.
So, you know, if we were in New York, he would have been out that day.
Yeah.
Anyways.
We're not going to talk about that. So, another case within a case within a case is what we're doing today.
You know, I can't wait to see the Lifetime movie on this shit.
It's going to be
because
so
how
good.
the hell are you going to keep up with all of it?
I don't know.
Alrighty. So, now the next mysterious death that plagued the Murdaughs. Gloria Satterfield was the nanny and housekeeper for the Murdaughs for over 20 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah. She helped raise both of the Murdaugh boys and maintain their home. In February of 2018, she allegedly tripped and fell on the outside steps of their home on the Moselle property and hits her head. On November 30th, the 911 call was released for this case after the investigating everything else that was happening with this family since June 7th of this year.
Okay, backtrack. She fell in 2018.
Yeah, she
The
fell.
call was released in 2021, so we can keep that straight.
Yeah, when they open up their investigation again.
But yeah, since like June.
Yeah, I think it's been like June,
July, something like that.
The reason why they decided to open up this trip and fall case is because a lot of interesting information was found during the double homicide investigation revolving around Gloria Satterfield. They find out that the settlement that was supposed to be sent to the Satterfield sons, both of her sons, had been settled, but never received.
And the sons had no idea it had even been settled.
Had no idea. Gloria, talk a little bit about her injuries. She spent 3 weeks in the ICU where she finally succumbed to her injuries. There was no mention on the death certificate of a trip and fall. On the death certificate, it clearly states that this was no accident. It was natural death. How the fuck do you figure that's natural?
I mean, she was in ICU for 3 weeks. That's not natural anymore.
So...
She was in the ICU because of injuries.
Right. Due to an accident. Hearing from medical examiners that have talked about how her death certificate could be stated the way that it is because she was transferred from one hospital to another and then spent 3 weeks in an ICU. It was lost in translation of how she got the initial injury.
Okay. Possible.
While she spends 3 weeks in the ICU, not a single person from the Murdaugh family visited this longtime employee.
What?
And this isn't like somebody that's in an office that you see occasionally, or even if you see them every day. I mean, I've worked in an office for 7 years, and very few of the people I worked with would I went and visited. But this person was in your home every day.
Helped raise your children.
Maintained your home, was involved in your day-to-day, went on vacations with your family. Like, just because you paid them, they were still a member of your family.
Yeah. How could you not go visit? And again, this is 2018 when this happened, so there's not COVID restrictions.
Literally what I wrote in there. This was way before a COVID restriction would have ever been a viable answer.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you? That's a very good question. Especially like the kids that she helped raise you. She had to have a big influential part of their childhood.
And she thought of those kids as her own. I mean,
that's sad.
They they went to her for advice. They were very much connected to this woman. And you can hear on the 911 call, Paul knows enough about this woman to state her medical history, to talk about her age. He sounds agitated, but at the same time, like listening to certain words he says, he sounds concerned too. There's blood coming out of her ears.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take you to get here? I don't want to know. I don't know if you guys have listened to the 911 call, but there's mention of that. There's a fella in the road with a ranger. Who's that fella? I don't know, but I just want to know who it is.
Yeah, I'm nosy.
But they were very much, she was part of the family.
Yeah.
And to not go to the ICU to check on a family member that you grew up with
So is it possible that ICU did have, like, actual restrictions of just family only? Like, legitimate family?
So, it could have, but this one did not.
Okay.
There wasn't even mention if they had checked in to see how she was doing. So let's say there was a restriction. Those sons never heard from the Murdaugh family until the day of the funeral, which gets juicy. So,
God. That's so fucked.
Day of the funeral, the Murdaugh family does attend the funeral, which damn well should have.
Yeah.
Alex pulls the Satterfield boys aside and says that her death is my fault. My dog tripped her up the stairs and caused the head injury. I am going to take you to see Corey Fleming. He is an attorney, and he will bring a suit against me and my insurance to pay for the damages of losing your mother. Okay. Corey Fleming is Alex Murdaugh's best friend. I don't know if they're still best friends because Corey lost his license.
I would hope they're not best friends anymore.
Corey has now...
Rachel, you fucked my life up. We're not best friends anymore. Sorry.
Yeah. I think he was just as much involved in the fuckery. So
I mean, yeah.
Maybe they still are cahoots together trying to figure out how to get out of the shit they're in. Major conflict of interest. And I feel for the Satterfield kids because they weren't kids, but they didn't know any better.
They trusted this person that they grew up with.
Yeah. They were in their early 20s. I mean, they were adults in the eye of the law, but if you have no thought of a crime, first of all, the kids really just thought she tripped and fell. Yeah. They had no idea
that there was supposedly this dog she tripped over.
Which, could have happened. You can hear the dog in the background. You can hear Maggie saying, put the dogs up. You can hear all of that. So the dogs were there. Yeah. And it very much could have been that the dogs tripped her. Yeah. But what comes next is fucking shady. Yep. So the entire case, the Satterfield boys know nothing is going on. Corey says, I will handle this. I will take this to court. I will do everything you need. Do not worry about a thing. The case is settled in 2019, where the $4.3 million is distributed to everybody but those kids. Who aren't kids, but you know what I mean. Yep. They had no knowledge that the case was ever settled.
That's so fucked. So, to their knowledge, until recently, it was still in court. Yep. They didn't know.
The only way they found out was from a news article that the case was settled. Because a news media outlet reported right after the double homicide that back in 2018, the death of Gloria Satterfield on this property and now Paul and Maggie, and they start talking about the settlement that was paid out because it's public knowledge. Yep. Again, they have no knowledge because they don't know to have knowledge. They don't know any better. But
no. And honestly, how would you? Especially young adults, no crime, no law background. Right. You wouldn't know to look.
If you are in a suit and you want to find out what process it is in, you go to the public index of that county. Type in the name of the defendant or the plaintiff, and it will pull up. Mm-hmm. And that will tell you where they are within that case. Mm-hmm. Please keep that in mind if you ever need it in the future. I hope you don't, but just in case. That is for criminal or civil cases. Yeah. It'll tell you what was filed last, where they are in this. Has it been disbarred? Has it been moved to a different court? Everything is listed publicly. Mm-hmm. And you can find it. But again, not to their fault. They didn't know. No. Why would they know?
They had a lawyer who should have been communicating with them.
Instead, that lawyer was communicating with the the defendant. Yep. Where in the world is that okay?
There's so much conflict of interest. There's so much...
Let's talk about where the money went.
Yes. Where did the money go, Rachel?
So, supposedly, there was certain investigators paid out, certain filings.
Some things that are normal.
Right. Except they aren't normal when they end in an even number. So, anytime there's an audit and you see like $154 even, $120 even, there's no change involved. You know something is going on. Because you will never have an entire booklet for anything. Like if you pay your bills, any kind of bill never is even.
No.
Not
never.
Multiples. Not like when you go and pay your bills for the month, are you going to have everything being no change?
No, never.
That to me is a cooked book.
I mean, I know some people that like pay extra so that way it's an even number when you pay the bill.
But that's different.
Yeah.
This is a book where you were supposed to have the exact, to the cent, what was paid for each service.
Right.
And there was none. So all these random people were paid random amounts of money. There was an account opened by Alex with his social security number, doing business as, or DBA, for Forge. Forge is a actual company in that area that handles distribution of settlements, except it wasn't the same Forge. This was a different Forge, his own.
Oh.
Where he took and laundered the money into places that he needed it, such as a $100,000 credit card payment that needed to be paid off. Yep.
Well, isn't that a coinky dink?
Yeah. So they have reached a settlement at this point where they are being giving retribution for the money that they were not received. There is a case again, and that was paid out through a bank and some other people. There is a suit brought against Alex right now for the loss of money. And Alex's attorney, Dick Harpootlian, is stating that he's already been paid back. It is not, Alex doesn't need to pay on top of that. That means he's getting double.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. You fucked up. You are now at fault for more than just her death. You're at fault for all this money going missing after the death.
So, let me ask a question, Rachel. I don't know if we've ever talked about what you do for work. Are you fine with that?
Yeah, I don't care.
So, Rachel does sell insurance. That's what she does. She's an insurance.
Personal liability insurance.
So, that's what she does. So, she does have a little knowledge about this. I mean, a lot of knowledge, really. So, first off, here's my question. So, well, I have multiple questions. So, first off, when Corey Fleming would have filed that suit, would it have been directly against Alec Murdaugh and then the insurance company would have stepped in, or would it have been against his insurance company?
So you always want to go after the biggest pockets.
Okay.
So for this situation, it would have automatically been deferred to the home insurance.
Okay.
Now, with that being stated, it would have had both names. It would have been
Alex, the insurance company and Alex Murdaugh.
And Alex Murdaugh, yeah.
Of course. So, to follow that up, him admitting fault to the people. What happens insurance-wise?
Not allowed. You're not supposed to admit fault. Now, you can say, make sure you get medical attention, blah, 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 but you cannot be like, I'm at fault. It was my negligence. I will take care of the damages through my insurance company. That is telling them that the insurance is just going to cover it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You can't do that. That is up to the insurance company to decide if you are at fault.
So that would say the insurer that initially, had they have done things correctly, and that would have came to light during the proceedings with the insurance company, had that come to light and the insurance company would have heard that, the insurance company would have been like, you're fucked, you're on your own.
They could have denied it. Now the word could is the key factor there.
Okay.
When you are in a car accident, if you look at your insurance cards, it says on the insurance card, do not admit fault.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're not going to pay it out. It may be easier to go ahead and pay this out than it is to file, to fight.
Yeah.
And they have the authority. When you sign a contract with an insurance company, they have the authority to pay out a claim whether you agree with that claim or not. Which sucks.
Yeah.
Because that's how people take advantage of other people.
Yeah.
There could have also, she is a worker on this property, which means it could have been coming out of a workman's compensation policy, which I don't think he had. I think it came right out of his personal.
Right.
But his personal insurance company could have denied it because she was an employee.
Right.
Depending on what company it is.
Right.
But yeah, he should have never admitted fault. Right? He should have not admitted fault and say, they're going to pay you.
Right.
Because he couldn't guarantee that.
No.
And as an attorney, he should have known better.
Yeah, that's my other thing is as an attorney, he knew all this.
Yes. And prime example we'll get into in the next story that we're going to talk about in the series is you never talk fault, you never talk knowledge of an information until you are in a courtroom or with your attorney. Those are the only two times that you verbally give information it is with your attorney present.
Right.
It is not you are the attorney and you're going to take care of this. At that point, you are no longer the attorney. You are the defense. You know what I mean? You're the plaintiff.
You can't. I mean, you can represent yourself, but
and you can, but
I feel like it's different when there's insurance involved.
Yeah, especially when there's insurance involved, because you aren't representing the insurance company. The insurance company has their own lawyers.
Right.
So you could have said, you know, I'm sorry for this law. There's
that's my next question is if he had just apologized.
Yep, he could have apologized.
Would that be considered admitting fault?
No.
Okay.
Because even the death certificate says it wasn't an accident.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's questions that pop into my brain as somebody that does not have a law in a background, as somebody that does not have an insurance background. That's what I'm looking at. If he would have just said, "I'm really sorry this happened to your mom. I hate that it happened." Like if he would have been like, "It happened."
Even like if he wanted to be shady and continue to have this suit brought up, wouldn't it have been better for him to contact Corey? And then Corey just out of nowhere contacts the Satterfield family.
Yeah.
Hey, I think you've got a case here I saw in the news where your mom had passed away due to an accident on their property. I think you have a case. Can I take a look at it for you?
Yeah, which if he had done that,
which is an ambulance chaser, but still it would have been better.
Okay, but also it's a little hard for me because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it one way, and the way I'm seeing it is
they trusted him.
They trusted him, and to me, if I was in their shoes, I would have thought this person was looking out for me.
Yep. And
well, I would have thought that was him having good intentions.
And that's what they said the whole time. This whole time, they thought he was just looking out for them because he had been around them their whole life.
Yeah.
I think there would have been different ways to not make it so fucking obvious.
Yeah.
But no, that insurance company could have denied that claim.
Yeah.
For many reasons. Let's say and I know it wasn't, but let's say the breed of the dog was a breed that they exclude.
Yeah.
My thing is usually animals that are involved in a liability suit don't pay as much as if there was water on the steps and she tripped.
There was a loose brick.
Yeah. The idea that there was an animal involved. Let me tell you a short story about a case. There was this woman walking down the road in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
There was a small chihuahua on the front step to a woman's home.
Okay.
Dog could not leave the yard. It was fenced in, but you could see the street. There was just a sidewalk. Woman was walking down the sidewalk and the dog barked. She got scared, tripped and fell off the sidewalk and broke her wrist or something.
Okay.
She sued for liability against the dog because the dog scared her, and she won.
I would not think you'd win that. Wow.
But I don't understand, it wasn't paid a full amount of a homeowner's policy. And I know all policies are different. I have certain companies where you can get a certain percentage and you pay less if it's caused by an animal.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't understand how she was, one, an employee, two, it was a dog-related incident. He must have had a fucking huge-ass policy is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any other questions about liability insurance?
No, that's it. That's
Don't admit fault. That is not up to you. That's why you pay for an insurance company.
Yeah. So, do we know exactly, how much?
There was a bank person who is being charged. Oh, there is a case against Bank of America because they feel as Bank of America should have caught this because such a large sum of money and allegations that the bank was involved, in cahoots with Alex regarding the transfers of money from this case and other cases that he's involved with. Because this isn't the first case or the last case before the date of the double homicide where money goes missing from a settlement that wasn't his and somehow ends up in him. Not in him,
in his pockets.
Yeah, it's ending up in his wallet. And the clients have no idea.
Huh.
Yeah. Bank of America is rejecting that claim, stating that they followed every protocol. He did everything by the book when it comes to moving the money.
Right.
So they're saying that they have no skin in the game. They are not responsible.
Okay. We'll see. I'm sure you're being investigated for it, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I don't know if he was actually debarred, but he was kicked out of his law firm.
Yeah.
I think he's in the process of getting debarred. Thought that would be a little quick.
So, with them investigating the double homicide, was that the only thing that came out about the case? Or
about the Gloria Satterfield?
Yep. Is that the only thing we know? Did they reopen it and investigating it as a different thing than an accident? What's going on?
They didn't report that they're investigating it differently than an accident. They did release the 911 call. They did release the financial information about the money not going to where it should have been. Mm-hmm. But they have not stated if they think that she was killed or if it was actually an accident that he just took advantage of. Unless you know something different.
I don't know anything different.
Because hours of looking, I have not seen where they've released what they think happened to her.
It's just interesting to me to reopen the case.
So I don't know if they're reopening the actual injury, but reopening the financial side of it.
Okay.
But they haven't stated either way.
Right.
They just said that they're looking into the death of Gloria Satterfield.
Yeah.
And I think they have to look into it because of the money just going missing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's probable cause that you've done something to this woman to have this lawsuit so that you can get this money.
Yeah.
But is there any evidence of that? I don't see it yet.
No, I haven't seen any evidence that it wasn't an accident. The 911 call sounds... So, Maggie sounds frantic. She sounds freaked out. It makes sense. She is getting frustrated with the 911 operator asking a million questions because to her, she's not understanding that the 911 operator asking questions is not delaying the ambulance coming. They are on the way, but she's trying to get more information to give to the ambulance.
Yeah, Maggie can't hear what the 911 operator can hear in her other ear.
Right.
So a 911 operator, and I was talking to you the other day about it, you have two different earpieces. One goes to police, fire, EMS. One is the person calling.
Right.
And you can't hear when they're talking to the other one.
Right.
So, and I could be wrong. I could be seeing, as a person who talks on a phone for a living and asks literally 25 questions or more to get to an answer.
Right.
To me, it sounds like she just thinks we're wasting time and this woman's bleeding out on her front porch.
Right. Which, I mean, I understand her being frantic, once Paul ends up with I just know straw. Once Paul gets the phone,
he too sounds annoyed, but then once he finds out,
once he understands that no, they're on their way, I'm just trying to get more information to give them. So he kind of chills out a little bit.
I feel like he does too. I feel like he's like, oh, okay.
But to me, he's still snippy, and that could just because it's a stressful situation.
To me, he sounds like a spoiled little brat child, but not that I don't see the connection where he's trying to cover up something.
No.
So my idea is if they were responsible and physically responsible, where I'm saying like they murdered her.
Right.
Why wouldn't they just left her on the front porch and pretend nothing happened and then, oh my God, there's a dead body out here?
So, you know how I like to read everything? I read a theory about what people think happened. There is no truth to this as far as I know.
I've read a couple of theories.
There is nothing there that tells me this is the truth. But just to me, the theories are interesting. One of them being that we know Paul is not a very nice person. We know there's some shit. One of the theories is that Paul lost his temper with Gloria for some reason or another and pushed her. Again, no truth to that. I know nothing. It's just one of those theories that you read. I think I read it on Reddit, maybe.
See, I would agree with that. Except Paul had like a what's that called? Football players get it because they got hit in the head too many times. Sundowning.
Yeah.
So Paul's, from what I can gather, a lot of his bad behavior was towards the end of the day. Like in the late afternoon, early evening, into the evening. Okay. It would like progress. And I don't know him from Adam, so I'm just going by what I'm seeing in his history and his friends and the way he talks to people. Right. It happened at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
He's like a 16-year-old kid at the time. 17, 18. He might have been 18. But I don't even see him being up and coherent enough to the world yet.
Right.
And why was he even home?
When was this? June?
No, it was in February of 2018. He should have been in college.
He should have been. Maybe he took a semester off. I don't know. I don't know what he was doing with his life.
I didn't even think about that till just now. But yeah, it happened kind of in the morning. That's the only, I've seen that theory too, that he pushed her. Yeah. And I agree it could be very possible.
It is. I mean, anything's possible.
But
anything and everything's possible.
Again, I think that why wouldn't they have just went back into the house, waited till she stopped breathing, and then called 911. Oh my God, I just found my housekeeper outside. She was supposed to be here at X time. I thought she was just running late. I went to go get the mail and I found her. Yeah. There were so many other ways.
But see, the only
that just shows how really fucking sick I am.
Okay, but also the other thing that pops into my brain with that is Maggie doesn't seem to be the type of person that could have done that. Maggie, to me, comes off as a very genuine, caring person. Yep. So even if she didn't know, so say Maggie's inside and she hears something and she comes outside, she might not have known Paul pushed her. No. She doesn't know. Maybe she doesn't even know what happened, and Paul just tells her, like, say we're going with the theory that Paul pushed her. Okay. Paul just says she tripped over the dog. I don't know what happened. Maggie's gonna automatically call 911 because that's just the kind of person that she seemed like to me. Yep. So. I mean, while Paul could have walked away if that's what happened, I don't know what happened. I don't know. But I just don't think, regardless of what happened, if Maggie had knowledge, Maggie saw something, heard something, whatever, and walked out that door, she would have called immediately. No question in her mind. She just seemed like a genuinely nice person, a sweet lady. That's just my opinion.
No, I mean, I agree. I really think she just fell.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 100% possible she just fell. We weren't there. We don't know. We have to go with what they're saying, which her death certificate says natural causes. We obviously know that's not what happened. That is not natural causes. That's not
what Alex said even. He admits that his dog tripped her. Which you work in a place for 20 years. You are around these dogs all the time. You know when you walk into my house, my dog's going to jump on you.
Oh yeah, I know your dog is going to try to kill me.
There are certain behaviors that you just learn about things that you are around all the time.
And it's also possible though, like my dogs. I have 2 dogs, but I also at one point before this had a beagle. I could not tell you what she was going to do one day to the next. Because she was just so erratic with her behavior. She did not chill out till maybe like a month or 2 before she died. I could not tell you, and my dogs do it now where I trip over my dogs every fucking day.
See, but if I'm tripping over Roxy, I'm well aware that it's a possibility because she's like in between my legs or...
No, my dogs will just literally come up out of nowhere and try to trip my ass. I'm convinced they want me dead. But the beagle that we had, she could be fine and like laying next to me 1 minute and then all of a sudden she bolts. So that could have very well been, and if they had it was one of those, like one of the breeds of the hunting dogs, which Casey was a beagle, that's a hunting dog. They very much will they catch a scent of something and gone. So it could have just been a sporadic, that dog decided to bolt. And it was, while that's something that could have happened, it was on stairs.
I want to know if it was one of the working dogs or one of the hunting dogs, one of the dogs that they were breeding for. Because people who breed dogs of that pedigree, they're not just allowed to roam around the yard.
No, not usually.
Or was it one of their...
I mean, so I feel like we just don't know what happened. I'm going to say she tripped.
I feel like the only reason they reopened it was because of the missing money. Yeah. I don't have enough evidence or enough... The same with the Stephen case. Yeah. It's speculation, and I feel like the speculation is becoming a whole lot greater because they're all reopened.
Yeah.
But are these things just being reopened because of small things that are connected to this overlarge double homicide picture?
Maybe. Maybe. It's a lot.
So when we talk next week, we are going to get into Mallory Beach.
Mallory Beach.
And her connection to the Murdaugh family.
It's, like I said, this was intending to be a 4-part series. This has now turned into a 5 or more part series. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot to go over.
I know for sure there will be one additional episode that I had not thought about. Because we need to get into all of his crimes and charges and his lifestyle.
Yep.
That somehow circles back to this double homicide.
Everything
that has
circles
no information. Back. So.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in this week. We will see you guys next week with part 4 of the Murdaugh Files.
Happy Merry Christmas.
I hope you have a Merry Christmas. And I think, when's part 3 going to come out?
It'll be the week after Christmas, so it'll be New Year's Eve.
Oh, so we'll see you New Year's Eve to party.
Party.
Just kidding, we don't party. We're old.
Make your New Year's goals. Well, on the 28th, we are having a girls' party.
Oh my gosh, yes, I know. I'm so excited. So be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Tickety Talk, Twitter, under the name Crime and Chill Podcast. Join our Facebook group, Crime and Chill Fam, to talk more crime with us.
Like and
subscribe. Rate us on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on YouTube. If
Man, just do something to help us if you like us, please.
Yeah, we want to be friends. We're really cool. We promise.